I think they're very cool with black people. And let me just say this. I want all my people to free their mind from this question because it's not a bad question, but you are from America, the most racist place towards black Americans. America is a very violent place. There have been 17 lynchings, which is a hate crime against black people, still happening. The amount of violence and hate that black Americans experience in America, you're not experiencing that in different countries. I'm not going to say it doesn't happen. I'm not going to say racism doesn't exist. It depends on where you are. But me, I grew up in Charles County, southern part of Maryland. Neighbors were Klans members. I can say my experience of America and racism as opposed to leaving and experiencing life in China, to be specific, I feel so free. I feel relaxed. I don't feel tense every time I leave my house. I don't feel on guard. I don't feel like I'm being watched. I don't feel profiled. When my wife brought up leaving America, I had the same question. I was always like, well, are people racist over there? Oh, I heard they don't like black people. Perception is everything. And coming to China, I definitely had to get used to the stares, but I wasn't getting stared at due to racism. I'm in a tier 3 city. A lot of people have not seen black people. They haven't seen foreigners. So they're very curious here. And that's okay because it's a level of innocence that is behind the curiosity. It doesn't come with any violence or any discrimination. We were shopping one day and the clerk was following us. And at first I was like, okay, why is she following us? But then I looked around and all of the sales associates were following everybody in the store that we were in. It's common because their customer service is like they on your ass, you know what I'm saying? Because they want to make sure you buy. They're not worried about you stealing. China is a very anti-theft country, so people don't steal. It's not even a thing. It's not on people's mind. And when people are following you, again, I had to get used to that. In my experience, it's been nothing but welcoming. It's been nothing but love here. People are very generous. People are interested in me and my culture and where I come from, and they want to share. I've gotten a lot of respect off rip just because of what I look like. So I want to urge everyone who looks like me to let go of that question, because if you can live in America, you can live anywhere. And that's not to say to accept the bare minimum of what any other country provides, but the American experience is a unique experience. You have to understand how violent America is. Other places in the world are not like that. So, yeah, they like black people.
I might ruffle some feathers with this, but I don't really care. Number one, the reason you don't like Anaya is because you have the same wound of lack of resources like Casey does, in my opinion. Is Anaya not the goal? Is she not the goal for everybody and their kids? Is Anaya not what you want your child to end up having? A nice house, a car, never having to ask for shit, never having to struggle, and having a good example of a partnership? Like, I'm confused. Why is it when we finally get someone that's produced from the black nuclear family and lived in the black middle class or the wealthy upper class, you guys hate them? Hate them. And I grew up dirt poor. Like, I grew up on a fixed income with my grandpa. Like, I don't get y'all. Like, in my opinion, is that because when a black woman is either self-sufficient, accepting breadcrumbs, or she's angry and she's upset, those are the only three things you guys accept. But when she expects more from somebody, y'all hate that. Y'all hate when black women ask for anything. Now she's spoiled. Now she's out of touch. Now she's sheltered. Was that not the goal? Was that not the goal? Because to me, like, I feel like she reminds me, like, Kaylor. Like, Kaylor, no one was saying Kaylor needed to leave. Everybody just said Kaylor needed to stop crying. Like, do you get the issue? Like, the social dynamic? And we have to look at Anaya from the perceived lens that black women are adultified, just like Trinity is. She is not allowed to cry. She's less deserving. She's less innocent. She knows what she's doing. She doesn't like him. She's also being emotionally manipulative for crying 1 to 2 times, 1 to 3 times. Mind you, their relationship was good up until Soul came. And again, Love Island built them up to break them down. Like, I feel like that was very obvious. This is the point. Impoverished black women are usually treated as evidence that there is social failure, that there is a racism issue, that there's all these isms going on. While black women who get to wealthier status, they're seen as personal excess. And what happens is that these two things are used against black women, and black women are blamed for both. Because if you chose Dede, that was on you. And if you stayed in the projects, that was on you. And if you had 6 babies, that was on you. And if you're expecting too much, that is on you. Who's gonna buy you a Range Rover? Who finna lay out the jacket when there's a puddle? I don't do that shit no more. And what people aren't realizing is that they're watching a black woman who didn't have to be an adult. Y'all loved Alandria. Alandria had to be the oldest sister the whole entire time. She took care of everybody. Anaya is doing almost a similar thing, but she's still a daughter. Like, she's showing that she is not fluent in deprivation. She's not fluent in struggle. And it's bothering some of you. I don't know. As someone that grew up struggling, like, I feel like it's bothering some of y'all. I don't know. And I feel like it worried Casey that, like, this might not be somebody that he can provide for in a traditional sense. But providing, okay, because we're black, doesn't always have to be financial. And black women know that. And my biggest critique of Casey is that, and a lot of you guys, is that what you're hearing from Casey doesn't get spoken to Anaya. He just sits there and says, yeah, because he was playing a role. He was not being himself. He got in that confessionals and he was speaking to us. He never spoke to her.
Chinese people have been up to fuck shit, so here I am. People in China have posted videos of themselves physically abusing black dolls. Like, it's normal behavior, and they're just like, oh, this is what I do after a stressful day at work. Are you out of your mind? What have black people ever done to you? Have you ever met one? Have you ever met one and not acted like a complete weirdo around them? Have you actually, like, ever had a black friend? Probably not. But today I wanted to talk about where a lot of the anti-blackness in Chinese culture comes from, specifically Chinese. First, there's our language. The way we talk about the sun and going out in the sun. 你不要晒黑 is something that every Chinese kid has heard from their parents. It literally means do not turn black. Colloquially, it means do not get tan, but verbatim, word for word, it means do not turn black. Oh yeah, and if you get too tan, your parents will say that you look like a black person as an insult. I don't want to hear any of you saying this to your kids. If you hear any of your friends saying it to their kids, say something about it. If your parents say it to you, say something about it. We can talk about protecting our skin from harmful UVA and UVB rays without resorting to racism. Not wanting to get skin cancer is race neutral, is not colorist, but saying you got so dark you look like a black person, that's really weird. And every Chinese person has heard it at least once. Chinese people as a collective have also learned anti-blackness from their colonizers, like from our mutual hater. They think that shitting on black people will somehow make them whiter. Like, I hear Chinese people in China and in the US just parroting the most harmful stereotypes that white people have just made up about black people. When white people aren't even saying those things anymore, they have learned neoliberalism. They have learned to say, I don't see color. They've learned to hide their racism at least a little better. And then Chinese people are out here doing the work for white people. Thought we were done with the century of humiliation. What are you guys doing? And this is hurting actual Chinese and black people inside our community. There are black and Chinese mixed people who y'all don't even consider Chinese because they have African ancestry. So it's causing us to cannibalize our own. I know I spend a lot of my time on this app like shitting on K-pop groups for being racist, but Chinese people have no excuse this time. You shaguas better get online and start apologizing. Or else 我去中国找你。
给你看一下我的 Natasha.
If you don't know what that was, it's a racist trend that started in China, and it's one of the most blatantly anti-black things to go viral this year. It's called the Natasha doll trend, and on Chinese social media platforms like Douyin, which is China's TikTok, creators have been hurting and abusing these black dolls, which are stress reliever toys. Some of the dolls in these videos have metal rings around their ankles which look like shackles but have been marketed as accessories. This is not random. There's a market for this. These dolls are being manufactured, promoted, and sold to a non-black audience because black suffering and black caricatures are marketed as entertainment. I live in China. I study Chinese. I love the language and the culture, and that's exactly why I can't stay silent on this. I don't think anything in this world is more pervasive than anti-blackness, and it's disgusting.
Experiencing racism is such a traumatic experience, but it's even worse when it's your own people that enable it. So a few weeks ago, I went out to dinner with my boyfriend. He's no longer my boyfriend, and he's Vietnamese. So something about my ex-boyfriend is when I met his friends, his close friends, all 5 of them, every single one of them was white. Which in itself, you know, I know it's Arkansas, it's hard to find other people of color sometimes, But then he said that all of his friends only date Asian girls. That wasn't even the first red flag. I don't know what I was thinking dating this guy. The first time I ever cooked for my boyfriend, I made a salad. But it wasn't a normal salad, it was a Cambodian salad called priasapko. As I was finishing up the salad, my boyfriend's roommate and best friend walks in. He just got back from an Asian club thing. This is my first interaction with his friend, by the way. My boyfriend invites him to try the salad. And I wasn't really the most comfortable with it, but I decided, you know, this is my boyfriend's best friend. He's in an Asian club. He's probably an ally. He asks what's in it, and I start getting defensive because my boyfriend starts laughing and tells him to not tell him what's in it. And there's nothing weird in it. So I start panicking and getting defensive and just listing off every ingredient in the salad. He takes a bite and I cover my face because I do not want to see the reaction. My boyfriend tells me to look and points out that he's spitting it out. And he's just laughing his head off. And it doesn't even end there. Like, he asks him for his opinion. And his roommate, like, I can tell is kind of trying to be respectful. He just says that it's weird. But then my boyfriend eggs him on and he's like, tell us what you really think, bro. I'll cover for you. And it was just really fucked up because, like, you're Vietnamese, I'm Cambodian. Our dishes are kind of similar. We come from a similar culture, and it's not your culture to critique. This isn't your dish to critique. I don't even know this guy. A few weeks later, I get invited to go out to dinner with him and his friends. And at first, I don't want to go because why would I want to be in a room full of white guys that only date Asian girls? And my boyfriend insists that he has Asian friends too. It's not all just white people. There's going to be other girls there. So I go. And when I show up, it's just like a dozen white people at the table, and then it's just me and my boyfriend who are Asian. Towards the end, this white guy comes up who is part of the group, and he says, "Bing chilling." I immediately went, what the fuck? He starts telling my boyfriend that he looks like every male K-pop idol ever, and I'm just trying to fucking deal with the awkwardness of it all and be like, okay, that's kind of nice, I guess. This is definitely a microaggression. Saying shit about like Jackie Chan and like talking about like some generic Asian names or whatever. Other people start talking about like racist experiences my boyfriend has had. I'm not really sure when, but eventually that guy refers to us as the yellows. And at that point I snap and I like turn to my boyfriend and I'm like, you know, this is why I don't really congregate myself with a large group of black people. I want to leave. And he's just zoning out and he's not doing anything. So now I'm just forced to just fucking sit here and listen as these people are throwing these racial slurs and these racist jokes around. He had the keys. And it's like, what the fuck? When we get back, you know, I ask for his opinions on it and he kind of just downplays it and says that it doesn't bother him. But I felt crazy, like I was the only one that was affected by what happened that night. I'm glad that it's over because it's just one of those things where I know that I'm no longer safe around this person. It's also just so hard to believe. There were so many other things, like how he said that I was becoming a chud because I hadn't gone to the gym in 3 days. This is my physique, like what's wrong with my body? I don't even know what was going on mentally. I just wanted to be with someone that would make me feel comfortable being myself. And I don't understand why someone of the same race, of a similar cultural background, would do those things and make me sit through those things. I don't understand.
Hey y'all, so if you're Black American, you are probably not going to be surprised by anything that I'm going to say in this video, and you're not my target audience for this video, although I would really appreciate your guys' support right now, because the rabbit hole that I started down last night and then backed out of because it was just too fucking disturbing to continue, is just, it's insane. So today I am talking to Chinese Americans, not Chinese people in China. I am talking to Chinese Americans about your people over in China. So I've been on the Red Note app for a little while, you know what I mean? Ever since like TikTok had its first little issues or whatever. And of course there's racism against Black Americans specifically on the Red Note app, like insanely, right? And whatever, racism's fucking everywhere, and argue with your mama about it. Racism against Black Americans is everywhere in the fucking world. Anyways, I came across these Natasha dolls, and I got my iPad here so I can make sure I get this shit fucking right. Whoever this company is or whatever, created a new doll with a different kind of therapeutic aesthetic. They call this doll Natsa, The description for this doll has dark skin, simple and rough features, and always looks like she's just letting it rot. This doll is the total opposite of those perfect, polished influencer dolls. Young people find her ugly cute and use her to relieve their stress. So basically what they did was they created a minstrel black doll to beat the shit out of when they're feeling bad about themselves or anything going on in their fucking lives. Mind you, this is in a country that is 92% Han Chinese. 92%. And the other 8% is different types of Asian. They created a black doll that looks like a minstrel doll that they're smashing the head in, they're beating it up, and they're posting these videos online like it's funny. It baffles me, like how we stay on everybody's fucking mind. First of all, why do these dolls that are used for therapeutic reasons for you to relieve stress have to look like anything or anyone? Why isn't it just like another like random Labubu looking thing? Why are you guys painting the doll's face white? You bought the black doll and then painted it white. And this isn't me overthinking this or blowing it out of proportion or making it worse than it is. This is just simply racism, and it's fucking disgusting. And I'd like to see someone of Chinese fucking descent call this fucking nastiness out. They banned it in schools over there because of how fucking disgusting it is. But that's not enough. Like, there needs to be some sort of like major conversation had about this and had about the racism from other fucking countries towards Black Americans. It's really fucking weird and disgusting. And they should be fucking ashamed of themselves. Grown fucking adults, you guys. Grown ass adults. This shit is like taught, then perpetuated, and then nobody says anything, and it's just okay. Like, I would love to see like some of the large Chinese creators on here on TikTok address this. Anyways, I feel like I'm gonna be the only video up about this topic, but after what I saw last night, like, something needed to be fucking said.
So apparently China's doing this thing called Natasha dolls. And they're finding dark-skinned dolls and they're torturing them online for jokes and for keep. Okay, whatever. I have spoken about racism in China since I went to go visit China. I knew there was racism in China since I was in middle school. And I'm 30 years old. 33 to be exact. Just turned 33 in May. And I've heard about racism in China. And every time I speak to a Chinese person about racism in China, I either get gaslit or they pretend like they have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. Right? Like, oh no, there's no racism in China. Yes, there is. And it's bad. Now, everybody has their theories on why there's racism in China, right? Why does China hate Black people? Now, if you look it up, there's articles that talk about a lot of African countries are coming to China to visit China and to live there, to go to school, to start businesses, and they have been treated poorly for years by the Chinese, right? And I genuinely believe the reason why there is racism in China against Black people has everything to do with white supremacy. Now, people specifically feel when they think of white supremacy, they think of the Klan, they think of America, right? Now, America has a big part of white supremacy. They have a big role, I want to say, not a big part. They do have a big part, but, you know, it sounds better. They have a big role when it comes to white supremacy, right? But there's other parts of the world that have contributed to white supremacy. And it's mostly European countries combined with America. So white supremacy is global. And I say that every time when people are like, oh, there's racism in China. Yes. There's racism against people with darker skin from everywhere, even where there's Black people. So what do you think? It wasn't going to reach China? Like, seriously. Like, let's all use our brains here. So there's no like magical theory that China specifically wants, Trump to be president, blah, 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 blah. The global standard that, because it's not just America, the global standard that the whole fucking world holds on to right now is sitting on top of white supremacy. Going into those indigenous places where people were darker skinned and making them look as if they were animalistic, making them look as if they didn't have the tools nor resources, and treating them as if they were the other, and living off of the backs and work of these people is what this whole entire world is built off of. And the more we start to connect each other, the less we can start doing this like back and forth. No. Everybody is connected to white supremacy. Everyone. If white supremacy affects the Black community where there's colorism, then what the fuck what do you think it does to everybody else? There's people who uphold a standard that at least I sit on top of these people. That's what they think to themselves. And it doesn't matter what country you go to. As someone who specifically was in China for 5 months, the amount of racism that I endured in and outside of China, especially when I came on here to explain my story about me reporting my roommate 50 million times about all the messed up things that she did to me. And the one time that I get upset over something that I reported her a million times over, she reports me one time and all of a sudden it's World War V and I need to fucking leave someplace that I paid to live at. And that's not racism. Being called the Hegwei, which is the Chinese N-word, which means like black ghost, is not racism. Getting pointed at by little kids and say, hey, Seren, which means black person in Chinese, that's not racism. Coming up to me and touching my hair and me saying, Tiepong tofa, don't touch, Tiepong wo the tofa, don't touch my hair, or Tiepong wo, don't touch me. Having to learn phrases like don't touch me. We're human beings. Like, we all deserve at least some personal fucking space, especially after the fucking pandemic, bitch. And I have to go out of my way to learn how to learn phrases in your country to say don't touch me because you're so... And everyone's excuse is that I should ignore my anatomy as a fucking person, and I should make sure that you feel comfortable enough to come up and go in my fucking bubble and come touch me and take pictures with me and do whatever the fuck you want to treat me like that fucking doll. And that's not racism. Wake up. And then black people coming on this app, you coons, black people coming on this app and saying stuff like, oh, China's such a great country. Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah, that like people who are saying that China's racist, they're crazy. Like, no, you're like, what did you get out of that? Did they give you a check or something? Like, whoop-de-doo. You're contributing to thousands of more years of this. For what? For a check? And it's going to affect you too. I'm over it. Anyways, my rant is done.